Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to the Mojave and welcome back to New Vegas. Today we're going to be taking a look at the H&H Nailgun. This is a tool, I guess it's been repurposed into a weapon that you can find and use in New Vegas. This one is exclusive to the Divide, so you do need the Lonesome Road DLC. And this one you can actually find in a couple of locations where you normally don't find weapons. These can be found in toolboxes around the Divide, pretty commonly too. There is a couple mods that I've played around with too that I've added them to the Mojave, where they can show up in toolboxes there as well. And it kind of makes the game even easier than it already is. Not necessarily because the nailgun is super strong, but the nailguns are very pricey, so you can sell them for a lot of caps early on, which is really, really cool. The nailgun, like I said, can only be found in the Divide, although luckily, since it is in the Divide, you can run and get it super early on, which can be very, very useful because it does take a very common ammo, and vendors tend to actually sell a lot of the ammo that it uses. For the stats of the nailgun, this one requires 75 guns to use, which is rather interesting. It's a lot of guns, and only 2 strength, not too surprising in the strength. That will be kind of difficult if you just plan on running and getting this early on, at least to get the guns up, but the strength is pretty manageable by basically everybody. This one does 9 damage per shot, which is okay. I mean, this is a submachine gun, and it shoots fairly fast, so it doesn't really need to have high damage. It does 126 damage per second, so that's quite good. This deals 9 crit damage, same as its regular damage. That's pretty normal for most weapons. This has a below average crit chance at 0.12, which is kind of higher than some submachine guns, but it's still very low compared to other weapons. You're not going to be hitting crits super often with the nailgun, but it's okay enough. This costs 20 action points to use in VATS, which is fairly low. That's actually really nice for a submachine gun, so VATS attacks are pretty useful with this. This has 1.4 spread, so okay spread for a submachine gun. It's not super accurate, but it's not super inaccurate either. It'll work just fine for medium and close range. This holds 90 rounds in it by default, or I guess 90 nails. Calling them rounds is a little bit weird, but 90. This weighs 4 weight, so it's fairly lightweight for a submachine gun. And this one has 550 item health, which isn't really the highest for a submachine gun. These can break kind of fast, especially since you are going to be probably spraying these out at enemies as you go. And you may not even want to break these. Like I said, these are kind of pricey, so you can sell them for a decent amount of money. For the general pros of the nailgun, this one does pretty good damage per second. This one also has very cheap ammo. We'll talk about the ammo in just a second. And this one has a pretty low action point cost for a submachine gun, so you can use it in VATS fairly well. For the cons of this weapon, though, it does have limited ammo. It only uses the nail guns. There is no other ammo variation that you can put into the weapon. However, the nails are still pretty decent, though, but it is just something to consider. And there is no unique variant of the nail gun. There is only just regular nail guns. So if you're hoping for some unique colored nail gun, you're going to have to find mods for that. And speaking of ammo, the nails are kind of unique in 2 ways, because they always have damage threshold breaking on them, so they have armor piercing regardless. Nails do 1 time damage normally, but they have -5 damage threshold. So you can punch through some lighter armored enemies, or hurt, I guess, medium armored enemies. This isn't going to hurt heavy armored enemies as much, but it will still do more than what the standard rounds normally would from other guns. So that's really nice. The other big advantage the nails give you is that you can make them whenever you would like, because all you need is scrap metal to make them at the workbench, and you can make a decent amount of them. So scrap metal is probably one of the easiest junk items to find. It goes to a lot of different recipes, and making them into nails can work in your favor early on, because again, you can run to the Divide right away, grab a nail gun, run back to the Mojave, and then just make a bunch of nails for this and have a pretty decent early game submachine gun. It's actually really good for crippling limbs too, just like most submachine guns are. I found that it was actually really easy to take this up above good springs and just spray down Cazadors with it, and you can break their wings super quick. And that's actually a pretty decent strategy. That's something I usually do early on in my New Vegas runs anyway, with the 9mm SMG that you find in Doc's house. But if you were to grab that and then also grab the nail gun from the Divide and head on back up there, it's going to be a lot easier if you want to go up there to get Chance's knife, if you want to loot the tribe village there, which can have like fire axes, which are great melee weapons, and if you want to head on further north up to like that little town with the raiders that you can get a trail carbine, some reinforced metal armor, and love and hate. That's not a bad idea to grab this and grab that 9mm and just head on through there. It'll be a lot easier in that case, and a lot more manageable. Beyond that, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with the nailgun, because there's no perks in particular that actually help with the nailgun, besides just the regular gun perks. Something like Bloody Mess helps it with just damage. Run and Gun could help it with better accuracy if you really care about that. Aside from that, it's basically all the other perks that just help out your person. So for an overall rating for the nailgun, I think I would put this into the C tier of submachine guns. I don't think this is a bad gun by any means, but it is a gun that you kind of have to build around. It feels similar to like the Silent 22 submachine gun, where I like it a lot. It's actually a super fun weapon. I just don't think it's as practical as some of the other submachine guns to use. Maybe this one's a little bit more practical because you can get more nails for it, and the nails do have armor piercing on it, so they're not bad in the early game. But if you just plan on going to like Lonesome Road into the later game, you're probably not even going to use it because you could get better submachine guns like the 12.7mm or the 45. You could also get, I guess, Sleepy Time or Vance's SMG. That would probably be better than this too. But it's not a bad weapon by any means. None of the submachine guns really are. They're all pretty decent. They're similar to like the shotguns where they're all pretty decent. And this one's one of the weaker ones, but it's still not terrible by any means. There is also no mods for the nail gun either, so you can't change it in any way. It's just what the base nail gun is. Tell me your thoughts on the nail gun down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. And tell me what weapon you would like to see next in this series. We're going to be going through all of them in New Vegas, but whichever ones get recommended the most, I will be going over first. Or at least if I have room for them, because I do kind of like to separate them by like pistol, rifle, shotgun. That way at least we have some variety there, and it's not just like all rifles, all shotguns in a row or anything like that. But thanks everybody for watching this. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye!